And now Putin's back against the wall. He wasn't anticipating the extent or strength of our unity. And the more his back is against the wall, the greater the severity of the tactics he may employ. Now he's talking about new false flags he's setting up, including he's asserting that we, America, have biological as well as chemical weapons in Europe. Simply not true.
Ukraine military tells residents to brace for indiscriminate Russian shelling. Ukraine's military said on Tuesday residents should brace for more indiscriminate Russian shelling of critical infrastructure, as U.S. President Joe Biden issued one of his strongest warnings yet that Moscow is considering using chemical weapons. Russian troops have failed to capture any major Ukrainian city more than 4 weeks into their invasion, and increasingly are resorting to causing massive destruction to residential areas using airstrikes, long-range missiles and artillery. The southern port of Mariupol has become a focal point of Russia's assault and lies largely in ruins with bodies lying on the streets, but attacks were also reported to have intensified on the second city Kharkiv on Monday. Ukraine's armed forces said in a statement issued on Tuesday that Russian forces were expected to continue to attack critical infrastructure using high-precision weapons and indiscriminate munitions. Without citing evidence, Biden said Russia's false accusations that Kyiv had biological and chemical weapons illustrated that President Vladimir Putin was considering using them himself. Putin's back is against the wall and now he's talking about new false flags he's setting up, including asserting that we in America have biological as well as chemical weapons in Europe. Simply not true, Biden said at a business roundtable event. They are also suggesting that Ukraine has biological and chemical weapons in Ukraine. That's a clear sign he's considering using both of those. The Russian embassy in Washington did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Biden also told businesses to be alert for possible cyber attacks by Russia. It's part of Russia's playbook, he said in a statement. Washington and its allies have previously accused Russia of spreading an unproven claim that Ukraine had a biological weapons program as a possible prelude to using such weapons itself, but Biden's remarks on Monday were some of his strongest yet on the subject. Russia says it does not attack civilians, although the devastation wrought on Ukrainian towns such as Mariupol and Kharkiv are reminiscent of previous Russian assaults on cities in Chechnya and Syria. Putin calls the war, the biggest attack on a European state since World War II, a special military operation to disarm Ukraine and protect it from Nazis. The West calls this a false pretext for an unprovoked war of aggression. Biden is due to travel to Europe this week for meetings with allied leaders to discuss tighter sanctions on Russia, on top of the unprecedented financial penalties already announced. Ahead of the trip he discussed Russia's brutal tactics in a call with European leaders on Monday, the White House said. Russia's siege and bombardment of Mariupol port, which European Union Foreign Policy Chief Josep Borrell called a massive war crime, is increasing pressure for action. But EU foreign ministers on Monday disagreed on whether and how to include energy in sanctions, with Germany saying the bloc was too dependent on Russian oil to declare an embargo. No surrender. The conflict has driven almost a quarter of Ukraine's 44 million people from their homes, and Germany predicted the refugee number could reach as high as 10 million in coming weeks. Ukraine on Monday rejected a Russian demand to stop defending besieged Mariupol, where hundreds of thousands of civilians are suffering through Russian bombardments laying waste to their city. A part of Mariupol now held by Russian forces, reached by Reuters on Sunday, was an eerie wasteland. Several bodies lay by the road, wrapped in blankets. Windows were blasted out and walls were charred black. People who came out of basements sat on benches amid the debris, bundled up in coats. Read more. Some, though, have managed to escape. About 8,000 were safely evacuated on Monday through 7 humanitarian corridors from towns and cities under fire, including about 3,000 from Mariupol, Ukraine's deputy prime minister said. The eastern cities of Kharkiv, Sumy and Chernihiv have also been hard hit. Among the dead in Kharkiv is Boris Romanchenko, a 96-year-old Holocaust survivor whose flat was shelled by Russian forces last week. Please think about how many things he has come through, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said late on Monday. But, he was killed by a Russian strike, which hit an ordinary Kharkiv multi-story building. With each day of this war, it becomes more obvious what denazification means to them. On Monday night, a witness in Kharkiv said she saw people on the roofs of apartment buildings dropping grenades or similar ordnance onto the streets. A second witness, outside the city, reported hearing more intense explosions than on any day since Russian troops began attacking last month. Reuters could not immediately verify the accounts. In Kiev, 6 bodies were laid on the pavement by a shopping mall struck overnight by Russian shelling. Emergency services combed wreckage to the sound of distant artillery fire. The governor of Ukraine's Zaporizhia region said buses evacuating civilians from front-line areas were hit by shelling on Monday and 4 children were wounded in separate incidents. Ukrainian officials hope that Moscow will negotiate a withdrawal. Both sides hinted last week at progress in talks on a formula which would include some kind of neutrality for Ukraine, though details were scarce. Japan reacted angrily on Tuesday after Russia withdrew from peace treaty talks, citing Tokyo's decision to join the international campaign of sanctions. Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida said Russia's decision was completely unacceptable.
Heavy losses. Russia admits nearly 10,000 killed in Ukraine invasion as pro-Kremlin paper leaks true cost of Putin's war. Russia has admitted it has lost nearly 10,000 troops in its invasion of Ukraine. The previously undisclosed figure was revealed by a pro-Kremlin newspaper and lays bare the true cost of Vladimir Putin's disastrous invasion. The Russian tyrant expected a swift victory when he ordered the invasion, but his forces have met stiff Ukrainian resistance and could even soon buckle. Russia has kept its true death toll under wraps and on March 2 admitted to just 498 deaths. But in an extraordinary move, Komsomolskaya Pravda reported that according to the Russian Defense Ministry 9,861 Russian soldiers have died in Ukraine and 16,153 injured. The report was quickly taken down, though several screenshots were taken, including by the Wall Street Journal. Ukraine claims to have killed around 15,000 Russians and destroyed large quantities of equipment. The new figures disclosed by Russia is greater than the 7,000 thought to have died and up to 21,000 been injured, the US military reportedly estimated. It is reported that Russia is secretly transporting corpses of fallen Russian soldiers home at night on trains and ambulances via Belarus to try and hide the true scale of the death toll. Among the Russian dead are 5 generals as well as other senior commanders, including those from elite paratrooper units. The latest senior officer to die is the deputy commander of Russia's Black Sea Fleet in another damaging blow to Vladimir Putin's forces. First-rank Captain Andrei Palyi, 51, is the first senior Russian naval official to be killed in the war with Ukraine so far. He was reportedly involved with Russian marine attacks near the port city of Mariupol when he died, although the exact circumstances of his reported death are not known. Moscow is yet to officially acknowledge his death, but it appeared to be confirmed by fellow Russian Konstantin Tsarenko, secretary of the Public Council at Sevastopol Nakhimov Naval School. Ukrainian official Anton Gashenko also claimed Palyi had been killed earlier on Sunday without giving any further details. Palyi was born in the Ukrainian capital Kiev, but refused to take a Ukrainian military oath in 1993, instead opting to serve in the Russian Northern Fleet. He had earlier served on the Russian nuclear missile cruiser Peter the Great, and was deputy head of the Russian Naval Academy in Sevastopol, in the annexed territory of Crimea. It comes as Ukraine claimed to have killed a 5th Russian general, further damaging the resolve of Putin's army. Lieutenant General Andrei Mordvichev, commander of the 8th Combined Arms Army, died in fighting at Chornobayivka, near the southern city of Kherson. Major General Oleg Mityov, 47, was killed in Mariupol on Wednesday, bringing the total number of Russian officers to die since the start of the war to 13. A picture of the corpse of the decorated military officer, a father of 2, was released by Ukrainian Interior Ministry advisor Anton Gashenko. Lieutenant General Andrei Mordvichev, the commander of the 8th General Army, died during fighting on Friday night in a fresh blow to Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine. It's thought the military boss was killed in the Russian-controlled Kherson airport, which has been hit with Ukrainian strikes in the past few days. A statement from the Army General Staff in Kyiv read, "As a result of fire on the enemy by the armed forces of Ukraine, the commander of the 8th All-Military Army of the Southern Military District of the Armed Forces of the Russian Federation, Lieutenant General Andrei Mordvichev, was killed. He is the latest top Russian military official to die in the war." Russia confirmed the death of Colonel Sergei Sukharov of the 331st Guards Parachute Assault Regiment on Friday. The elite paratroop commander died following fierce fighting near Hostomel. His death comes after that of a spy captain during a top-secret operation in Ukraine, meaning Vladimir Putin has now lost a total of 13 commanders in the invasion. GRU military intelligence spy captain Alexei Glushchak, 31, from 2 men in Siberia, died in the carnage in Mariupol. The GRU was behind the poisoning of defected spy Sergei Skripal with Novichok in Salisbury. Pictures emerged of father of one Glushchak's funeral in Russia, where he was buried with full military honors and a guard of honor. On the day the military intelligence officer died, he had spoken to both his wife and mother in Russia, it was revealed. He called to congratulate them on International Women's Day, but on the same day in the evening they learned he had been killed. His death coincides with the first expressions of anger and dismay on the number of coffins now returning to Russia. Glushchak will be posthumously decorated.